Together, let's embark on a scientific exploration of yoga, where you are the scientist, your heart is the laboratory, and you are the outcome.
Namaste everyone and welcome to Astha. We continue with our discussion on consciousness. We often wonder, as we discussed, what is the purpose of life? Why am I here? And we concluded in our last session that the purpose of life, the real goal of human life, is to arrive at the highest possible level of consciousness, evolution of consciousness. We also discussed about how and why we fail in helping the body evolve. Body can become healthier, at the same time it can age. It goes on aging rather. The nature of soul is such that it requires no further perfection. It is perfect in itself. So what are we talking about? Consciousness. Today we will explore what is this consciousness, what is it made up of, and how to help it evolve. Simple definition of consciousness is degree of our awareness. Degree to which I am aware, that also means to degree to which I am unaware. How to make our available consciousness go into higher mode, into superconsciousness, and dive deeper into our subconsciousness. In the words of Swami Vivekananda, where he says, the purpose of life is to make this available consciousness to soar higher into the sky of subconsciousness and allow it to dive deeper into subconsciousness, into the ocean of subconsciousness. Somewhere he has also spoken about it, where he says, our available consciousness is sandwiched between two giant oceans. So, through yoga, through yogic practices, we explore this consciousness. We play with consciousness. Finally, we have to transcend even the consciousness. But that's a topic for some another day. Let's see what this consciousness is made up of. In Sanskrit we call Chitta. Chitta is made up of Manas, Buddhi and Ahankar. So consciousness is made up of mind, intellect and ego. Now, when we explore this further, what becomes of mind as it evolves? What becomes of intellect as it evolves? And what becomes of ego as it evolves? When we meditate, especially in the heartfulness way, with the help of yogic transmission, with pranahuti, we begin with this idea that my heart is filled with the presence of divinity. Or we begin with this suggestion just before the meditation that my heart is filled with the source of divine presence, which is attracting me inwards. So we begin with a mere thought, mere sankalpa, mere suggestion, a prayerful suggestion. Now, if this thought remains a thought, and I go on repeating like a mantra, then I will be too busy with recitation, with thought. Then mind will not go anywhere. It will be busy simply with this thought. it is trapped. It became habitual. It remains trapped in its unconscious, habitual format. It must allow us to feel the presence that upon which we are meditating. When I'm meditating on the presence of divinity in my heart, I must be able to feel the essence of divinity. What is that essence of divinity? Absolute silence, absolute love. It comes in incremental way. Incremental because there too we need some level of tolerance. We have lost the ability to grasp and feel that ultimate silence, ultimate peace. So, the doses of peace and calmness and samadhi-like states that we receive will have to match with our level of tolerance, level of acceptance, level of purity. Greater the purity, greater will be the depth in which we'll be diving. So, as we meditate, we move from the initial thought, the thought that there is presence of divinity in my heart, and slowly in the same meditation we begin to feel the presence. So we move from thinking to feeling. Thus we are training our mind to orient more towards the heart. We move from the reactive mind to responsive heart. This journey of moving from reactive mind to responsive heart is unique. We need not wait for years or next life. It has to be experienced here and now. And this is possible because of this yogic transmission pranayama offered under Heartfulness way of meditation. Heartfulness way of meditation through pranayama helps us soar higher into superconsciousness. Superconsciousness is a feeling. It can be felt. It cannot be thought. I cannot fabricate my thoughts while I'm in superconsciousness. You can play with your thoughts in ordinary level of consciousness. Let us take a small example. Try to understand the difference between thinking and feeling. How logical mind evolves in trusting the heart, the responses of the heart, the feelings of the heart. We have noticed, especially man, give you example from my own personal life. I run a pharmacy business. Whenever I was in trouble, thinking for months together, certain issues related to business world, your mother or wife would notice what's wrong with this fellow. But they would not dare to ask you. But then they get fed up of seeing you like that. After a few months, when they come up with courage and say, what's wrong with you? You look different. That when you explain the problem on which you spend almost 2-3 months brooding over it, even before you finish your sentences, they come up with solution. I've noticed this time and again. Ladies have a different approach. They're quite evolved. And because of their ability to feel things, they're able to come up with a solution which a man struggles to find. Though the things are right in front of their eyes, it doesn't strike their hearts. So there is a difference between feelings and thinking. Logical mind and the heart that can feel. So, through meditation, we are able to move from thinking to feeling in a very easy way under heartfulness way of meditation. So we have understood so far that as manas develop, as it evolves, it moves from thinking to feeling. And this contributes towards the expansion of consciousness. We'll summarize all these things as we proceed. The next, what happens to intellect, to our buddhi as we evolve, as we practice yoga and other spiritual practices? We'll take up this topic of evolution of intellect in next Asta session next Sunday. But today, let's meditate again, as usual, having your attention towards the heart and imagine that there is divinity already present in my heart and is attracting my attention inward. Okay, let's meditate. That's all. Oh, we have a question. What is the purpose of meditation? What am I supposed to achieve in few months or few years of practice? This is a question from Shri Amarjot Singh from New Delhi. Well, someone asked Lord Buddha, what have you attained after nirvana? What have you attained having attained nirvana? Buddha says very nicely, he says, I haven't attained much, I have lost a lot. Through meditation, I think, first of all, we get these glimpses of who we are. Our weaknesses are highlighted so intensely that we remain choiceless but to work on our weaknesses. Imagine each time a lady had to look in the mirror and had to correct her makeup, or something or the other has to be corrected. You might even tend to break a mirror or do the proper makeup. Likewise, when we meditate, and especially in heartfulness way, all our weaknesses come forefront. They get highlighted. And once these weaknesses remain highlighted, you have no other choice but to work on them. You become more aware. Later on, what about the strength? You will not be happy with whatever strength or expertise you have. Through meditation, there is infinite possibility where you say, I have done so well so far, but I like to improve further. So there is no limit to making things perfect, including ourselves. So we ourselves remain under a close monitoring of our own conscience. So this is the number one benefit. Those who like to carry on with the defective way of lifestyle, I don't think they can manage meditation. They will not be attracted towards meditation at all. Who wants to see his or her own ugliness? When you have to look within yourself and so, I am so. Unless you find a solution, you will get fed up of yourself. So meditation highlights. Also, if love is there in heart, automatically this defective attitude slowly dissolve and move on towards the evolutionary idea of expanding one's own consciousness. Because consciousness cannot tolerate any grossness or any load or any burden. It likes to expand, and it can expand only when it is lighter, calmer, and peaceful. And this happens because of meditation. We have a second question from Mukta Saxena from Mumbai. My family is deeply religious. I spend a lot of time every day doing idol worship. Is that going to enhance my meditative practice to do my ritual practice perfectly well? Of course. The approach that we have in meditation, you already know through this practice that it is to go within, look within, feel within, experience it within, and from within we become. Through idol worship, we are reminded that yes, there is a higher presence in this universe. There is godliness in the murti and worshipping. It creates this awareness, the presence of divinity in murti. Later on, this awareness of presence of divinity in murti is taken, is replicated in all that I do. That is the purpose. Later on, as we progress more and more, the dependency on external drops. The dependency on external forms drops, and we become naturally inclined towards divinity. There comes a day when there is absolute osmosis between this divinity, the ocean of divinity, which is all around us, and myself. So, earnest hearts, whether they go through idol worship or they go through meditation, if you are earnest and authentic about your search, it will lead you the right way, right path, right experience. I would humbly convey my thanks to Krishnamacharya Yoga Mandiram, Chennai, and National Service Scheme NSS, the Ministry of Youth Affairs, for joining this Yoga for Unity program. Also thanking Shri O.P. Tiwari ji, General Secretary of Kavalya Dham, for his address to the Yoga for Unity and Well-being. Once again, thanks to all.